Viewers, the latest news about Ethiopia, Amhara, and Tigray region is that, according to the latest reports, Debre Elias is a city of government of Varada. Communication office has issued a statement about what happened at Debre's Treaty Unity Monastery, where several were killed in if you open army's operation against Fano fighters. What is Debre Elias city's government's position about the incident, which happened there because Amhara activists are claiming that Orthodox believers were killed at the monastery. But the city government details are different. City government has shared details of how weapons were being brought out, how efforts were being made to organize fighters at the monastery. Secondly, Oromo Liberation Army and Ethiopian government have spoken in the last 24 hours or so about second hour of talks. The two sides met the first round of talks in Zanzibar, Tanzania more than 2 weeks ago. So any schedule for second round of talks has the peace process completely collapsed. Any signs of second out of talks? What are two parties saying? We have details for you. First, it was Debris. It is East Gojem Zone, and yesterday we confirmed several other sources confirms to that several people have been killed in Ethiopian army's operation around a monastery in Debris. For the last 4 to 5 days, I have been operating you regularly about the siege of Debre Elias Unity Treaty. Unity Monastery security forces had surrounded the trended Unity Monastery and they were making announcements telling armed fighters they to surrender, but exchange of gunfire started around 4 days ago. For around 4 days, the monastery remained under siege, and around 48 hours ago, security forces managed to take control of the monastery. But in this incident, several have been killed, and we are seeing a social media campaign by Amhara activists. They say that Egyptian army has killed dozens of innocent Orthodox followers at the monastery is silent, but now we have first official statement, and that is from Debre Elias government, local government part of original government. What is the government's position? What happened at the monastery? Debre Elias communication office of the Vereda says that the monastery Trinity Unity monastery was being used as a hideout by criminal elements. The criminal elements were collecting weapons. They were bringing weapons at monastery. They were recreating displaced people to fight, maybe displaced from Moralka, from the parts of from the regions they are being recreated. And they were being trained as well at the monastery. Military training was being given at the monastery by criminal elements. Our elements and the city government tried to resolve the issue through elders. The issue could not be resolved. Armed elements, criminal elements remained in control of the monastery. That is why city government sought out the support of defense Ethiopian National Defense Force. If Ethiopian National Defense Force came at the request of city government and it is resolving the issue, some news outlets are sharing false information. The city government says there is no truth in some statement being shared by different news outlets. So Debre city government, without naming Fano, is clearly saying that those at the monastery was not just Orthodox followers; they were criminal elements. I reported, I think, 4 to 5 days ago when this issue stated that firefighters were there. Yes, Orthodox followers were there, and there is the main issue that the Orthodox followers they were caught in this confrontation between foreign fighters and Ethiopian army. All of them were not armed. Their final fighters were they were in control of monastery Ethiopians Jude for SS. Surrounding the monastery, they made announcement telling Fano fighters to lay down arms. Fano fighters fought back. There was exchange of gunfire. Then local mean the follower also believer the monastery they were killed in the crossfire. Maybe some Fano fighter too, but Ethiopian army is back in control of Debre Elias monastery. What is needed to some investigation? I think if Ethiopian human rights communication should be allowed to visit this monastery and church is silent. Church should send its own committee. It should form a committee to investigate the issue. Church can write a letter to the super media authority was suspended. Why can't it reform a committee? An inquiry committee to look it into the what happened in Debris. It can send a committee there and Debris in East. Amara Church channel manager Archbishop Bishops of this region, but he is silent. If Orthodox followers have been killed directly by security forces or indirectly, I think church should also play its part in finding out what happened in the church. I at this monastery, I remember what when Babo's security forces tried to disappear some celebrations near a church a few weeks ago, and security forces used to use gas. One Orthodox believer was killed. Several were injured back then. Alice Mayor order inquiry. Why is that now church is silent? It means that there are some issues which church does not want to involved in. Fano fighters were there at the monastery. Did they manage to escape? Have they have been captured? Nor deals shared by the government by Ethiopian army? I think if you open Miller, the open government should also share details. How many were there? Who was leading them? How many have been captured? How many have been killed? More details here by the government. To second words, and Ethiopian government has they have spoken separately about second round of talks with OLA. Two sides met for the first round of talks so more than 2 weeks ago in Zanzibar, Tanzania. No agreement could be reached, but the two sides agreed to continue engagements. But after that, we saw that fighting resumed in Oromia, different parts of Oromia's east of heavy clashes between OLA and Ethiopian government forces. And now the two sides are speaking about the start or otherwise of the second order of talks. OLA says no second round of talks ongoing and no schedule agreed or planned so far. Ethiopian government also said the same. Who is Ethiopian foreign spokesperson, spoke a few hours ago when he said no second round of talks had been scheduled between the OLA and Ethiopian government. Yes, talk could be held in coming weeks, but so far the two parties have been agreed on any new date. Are they out of touch? Are they completely out of touch? Don't know. It seems that resume option of clashes in Oromia indicates that the two sides are not seeing potential of agreement in dialogue. That is why perhaps the delaying the second round of talks. Angel Maro 2 days ago, who speak, he said if he Ethiopian government has plan A and plan B, OLA has plan A, B, and C and D, and if self termination is not achieved through dialogue, other options are available to Fano fighters. Is the target of OLA, he announced, to raise a big army of Romia. And so you say that comes a database sent a very strong message 2 days ago when he addressed new recruits somewhere in Western Oromia. Hundreds of news recruit were shown or large requirement training continuing. Hola, um, not showing any signs of flexibility or any signs of making concessions, like have made concerts in Pretoria, is not ready to make any concession in raising big issues like an transitional government in Romeo, issues like culture status of Addis Ababa, issued federal working language is self determination. They are the types of issues which cannot be agreed, which cannot be agreement in just one of two sessions, and such dialogues on these issues would require participation of several stakeholders. So that is why even if second round of talk started, it won't lead to an immediate agreement, and the two sides are poles apart. So far you can say that is why the fighting is expected to continue in the Romia region of Ethiopia. So viewers, that's all from my side. Thanks for watching.